Hello, and thank you for tuning in. Today, of course, is March the 27th. It's Friday. Woohoo! For all of those working people out there, I'm sure that you're glad that the work week is coming to an end, and hopefully you're ready to have fun and party and let your hair down and let loose. Now, again, of course, this is LM Love coming to you straight from the A, and this is, of course, Love Talks. Now, today, of course, this topic is pretty serious. It's a very serious one. Obviously, everyone at this point is very familiar with what has happened to Whitney Houston's little girl, Bobby Christina, known by her friends as BK, and Bobby Brown's little girl. She just had a birthday, of course. She's now 22, but at the time when she first became comatose, she was only 21 years of age, and that's just so very sad. The fact that she was found submerged in a tub, and she was actually non-responsive for the period of time that she was, leading to her medically induced coma and her comatose state, where the doctors are not quite sure from which she'll ever recover. It is just tragic all the way around. Mainly the fact that her mother, Whitney Houston, the legendary vocal superstar and actress, essentially died in much the same manner, allegedly. It's really very tragic. It's just no other way to look at that type of situation. Hopefully, though, with prayers and hope a miracle, little BK, Bobby Christina, will come out of this coma. I'm pretty certain that is what the entire Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston clan is praying for at this point. Obviously, a lot of other people are praying as well. Bobby Christina's tragic condition has even inspired people to take up prayers for her on a nationwide and absolutely an international level, which is completely a wonderful thing to see. It's just so sad what's happened here. There's little question that BK has in the past apparently indulged in substances, recreationally and otherwise, and it's unfortunate that in the world of entertainment, drug use is pretty common. It's not anything that's welcome. It obviously has led to the premature demise of so many talented and gifted people who were still extremely weak because they could not say no. They did succumb to the pressures around them, to the lifestyle. You have so many entertainers that fall into this trap, and it's so very few that actually walk away from it with their lives intact. You have Whitney Houston's daughter. Now, obviously, she, at this point, has not ever really gotten fully immersed in the entertainment community as a professional, although she was doing a little acting on the side with Tyler Perry's camp, and that was actually showing some promise, and also doing some recording as well, and perhaps even going to pursue a recording career, just like her mother, the late, great Whitney Houston. But at this point, it's very difficult to tell whether that promise will ever really be fully realized. Everything is just so uncertain right now, and it does look very bleak. One has to be realistic. But when you look at the fact that Bobby Brown, the father of the daughter that he had with Houston, of course, this is Whitney Houston's only offspring, this has to be a very difficult decision for any parent to ever have to make and ever have to face. So I just kind of wonder, coming to you guys, what you really think about the situation and how you would react if you were, God forbid, ever in that situation yourself as a parent or another loved one where you had to make a decision whether or not to keep that person on the ventilator and go on with the hope that one day they would come out of the coma. It's just something so difficult. And even though BK may have gotten into the wrong situations, made poor choices like so many people do at times in their lives when they're vulnerable, let's be honest here. When someone loses their mother, it's a major emotional crisis that happens to a person. And she was extremely young at the time. I think it's only been like 3 years since she lost her mother at a way too young an age, 48 years old. I mean, that's just tragic on any level, no matter how you look at it. And of course, we lose people a lot younger than that every day. But let's be honest, the younger the person is, the more tragic the situation, which is why looking at BK being in a coma the way she is now, it's just very difficult to accept. Even if you're not related to this person, you still can relate to it on a human level. And if you are a parent, or even a future parent, or even if you aren't a parent, maybe you're just an uncle or an aunt, or you're just somebody that has taken children under your wing, and maybe you're just like a surrogate parent of sorts. You know that this is going to be a difficult situation. You know that Bobby Brown is really suffering right now. And obviously here at LM Talks, we just wish the Houston and Bobby Brown families the very best, because we know that this has to be taking a toll, and hopefully their faith base is strong enough that it can pull them through what is essentially an emotionally tumultuous time in their lives. There's nothing else one can say about a situation that's just so incredibly sad. It's really heartbreaking, because at this point the doctors don't even have the answers. So it's just like so much. It's just like a real uncertain situation. There is no clarity here. And all we can do right now is to pray for BK, and that she will come out of this, regardless of what she did in the past. There are people out there talking about the fact that she did drugs. Okay, maybe she did do drugs. She was living in a life. She was born into a world where drug use, recreational drug use of illegal substances and otherwise prescription drugs included in that as well, is extremely common. And that's unfortunate. Of course, it's not a good thing. I mean, you have so many people, as I stated previously, where you have these artists that have actually lost their lives because they were unable to essentially overcome their addictions to foreign, illegal, or even prescription drugs. Because whenever something has control over you, there is an addictive angle to that, whatever it is, whether it is drug use, overeating and binging, and even being far too sexually active, and being out there where you're just kind of an addict to the feeling of being involved with someone on a physical, intimate level. And it's not your husband, it's not your wife or whatever. It's just something that some people just have this addictive personality, and they get involved in these kinds of things, and they sadly can never get control. The addiction controls them. And in many cases, not just with substance abuse, but with other forms of addictions, it ends up taking a toll on the lives of those people that are afflicted, and those people that are closest to them, their loved ones, their immediate family members, and their friends. So all I can say at this point is that it's not fair to blame someone, particularly when the person is obviously at a loss and they're suffering and they feel alone. And obviously, BK may not have been doing very well with the death of her mother, which is completely understandable. Even though she does seem to have a large family structure and she does have people to turn to, there's no real way to actually judge such a situation unless you're within that situation yourself personally. So it's never fair to actually look at what someone else is going through, what they're suffering, unless you're walking that walk yourself directly. No one knows what goes on in the hearts and minds of other people. No one on this earth. God only knows our hearts, and that's just the way it is. So frankly speaking, all we can say is life is difficult, and when a person loses a parent, it becomes even more so. If there is no recovery from that kind of emotional devastation, but one just learns to live with it in time if he or she is lucky. When people lose their parents at an early age, it certainly does something to the psyche, and all we can do right now is pray for little BK that she will be well one day, that she will overcome this, and that she will go on to live a full, productive, happy, healthy, prosperous life. When you look at things like what has happened here, the fact that she's an heiress to the throne, a parent as Houston's only living heir, essentially becomes meaningless because life is everything. And the fact that this person is now on life support and indefinitely in the medically induced coma, as doctors have told the press, it's really, there's a lot of unknown here, and that just always makes things that much more difficult. So I just want to end here by saying that I certainly wish the best to the Houston and Brown families, Chris BK's family members, that they will find a way to support and love each other through what has to be a very traumatic time in their lives. This has been LM Love. I just wanted to say a few words about what has been on a lot of people's minds. It's obviously all out there in the cyber stratosphere. So many people are truly vested in the recovery of BK, and I'm here to say today that I am certainly one of those people as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you all have a really phenomenal weekend. Do something fabulous, and again, always love the ones that matter most to you as hard as you can, and live today like it's your last one. Ciao for now.